Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl D of Life with D, and we are back with another video. This time I'm talking to you about finding your therapist. So as a therapist myself, I often tell everyone you should be in therapy because I wholeheartedly believe everyone should be in therapy. Everyone should be in therapy. But getting in therapy is not quite that simple. It's really hard sometimes to find a therapist, and I'm very aware of that. And so I wanted to make this video today to show you guys, as a therapist, how to find your therapist. The first question I get a lot of times is, where do I even start to look for a therapist? I tend to recommend Psychology Today because of its vast search capabilities and how you're able to really tailor your search to what it is you're looking for. However, your search does not have to begin and or end at Psychology Today. There's a number of other sites you can also use if you're looking for a therapist, especially if you're of a marginalized or minority population. So what are some of these other sites, you may ask, because they're certainly not talked about as much. I'm going to share some with you guys today. And so for this, I will be looking at my computer, so when you guys see me look away, that's what I'm looking at. I originally got this information from a TikTok that I saw, and so I will link the original TikTok down below so you guys can check it out for yourselves as well. So the first site recommended is inclusivetherapist.com. This allows you to find therapists based on their identity and or lived experience, as well as a few other different things. The next sites I recommend are sites for people of particular backgrounds, and so that would be Therapy for Black Girls, Therapy for Black Men, Therapy for Latinx, and the Asian Mental Health Collective. All of those sites are really geared towards people of that particular identity and finding them therapists who are of that background and understand the particular nuances that may come along with that culture. The next site is Violet.com, which allows you to find a queer competent therapist. And so if you are of the queer community, it may be of use to use this website to find someone who is understanding of your experience. And the last site is the National Queer and Trans Therapists of Color Network. And so if you are trans and or queer and also identify as a person of color, this may be the site that you would like to visit because it will speak to your particular identity and allow you to find a competent therapist who is understanding of these different nuances. Okay, so now you know where to go, but when you get there, what are you looking for? When people come to me asking me to help them find a therapist, I always ask them, okay, what would you like in your therapist? Or what would you like to talk about in your sessions? A lot of times we know more about the type of person we would like or the things we like to talk about in our sessions than we initially give ourselves credit for. And so if you're looking for a therapist, that would be one of the first things that I ask you to ask yourself. And if you ask yourself this question and you still don't know the answer, that's fine. I have the questions for you too. The first question I ask is, do you have any particular preference about your provider? And so that could be their age, their gender, their cultural background, their faith. It could be a number of different things. Some people have preferences around these kinds of things, and some people don't. If you do have preferences around these things, definitely look for a provider who is able to fit the bill of some of these things. If you don't have any preferences, that's fine. That leaves you open to a greater area to search. After you figure out what you would like for your provider to look like, the next thing that I would ask you is, now what would you actually like to talk about in therapy? At this point, something is pushing you to go into therapy and seek services. So what is it? What is that concern that's kind of bringing you to look for a therapist now? It doesn't have to be succinct or in bullet points or anything like that. It could be a paragraph worth of what you are coming into therapy for, and that's fine. So once you have those concerns, whether it's a paragraph or whether it's bullets, you are going to look to see providers that service that particular concern. It's even better if you can find someone who specializes in that, but it's not always going to happen that way. So definitely find someone who works with your primary presenting concern or presenting quote unquote issue. And if you have multiple, that's fine. It's even better if you can find someone who's going to be able to work with your multiple presenting concerns. Most times when people go into therapy, it's not one thing that they're looking to talk about anyway. And so we as therapists are used to that. But definitely find a therapist who has experience with and or is comfortable with working with most of your presenting concerns. Okay, so now you know where to go to find a therapist. You know how to understand what you're looking for in a therapist, as well as how to make sure that your needs are going to be serviced within therapy. So the last thing to kind of deal with is insurance. Now, insurance is definitely the elephant in the room. It's not the end all be all do all, but it is really important. To be honest, therapy is expensive and it adds up. If you're insured, you should definitely try to go through your insurance to get someone who is covered under your insurance. That way you hopefully only have to pay a copay or your co-insurance fee. If you are not insured or you find a therapist who's a really good fit but doesn't take your insurance, see if they offer a sliding scale. So a sliding scale is typically income-based, and it will allow the provider to charge you based on your income and what you can afford to pay for each session. That may be a more feasible way as opposed to paying out of pocket for the entire therapy session. However, if you price out of the sliding scale, most therapists still allow you to come in and you will just have the out-of-pocket fee of whatever their charge may be. Alright guys, so that should be everything that you need in order to be able to start your search to find your therapist. If you still have questions or feel like I didn't explain something fully, definitely leave a comment down below and I will get back to you guys. But I will say I will not be providing therapy in the comments or anything like that, guys. So this is just more so about finding your therapist so you can begin your therapeutic journey. Just wanted to throw that out there as well. If you guys have not already, please take the time to subscribe to my channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and then comment anything down below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!